Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rustabout Collector here in my kind of janky studio until I get new lights and yada yada yada. Anyways, today we are taking a look at one of the newest figures in the Spartan collection produced by Jazwares. If you're unfamiliar with the company, brand, or anything like that, Jazwares recently acquired the Halo license, and they've been producing, just in this first wave, some of the best Halo figures we have ever gotten. Now, admittedly, that is a very tall order, but I think as we go into this review, you will definitely agree with me. McFarlane definitely did a good job, Mattel not so much, but I think there is a lot of promise going forward with this new 6-inch and also now the 3 3/4 inch Halo lines. Let's start off first by looking at the packaging. It's overall pretty plain, pretty simple, and that's okay. There doesn't need to be a lot of bells and whistles with packaging, and it looks pretty awesome, I gotta say. On the bottom of the packaging here, you have the other three characters from Series 1, Cat from Halo Reach, the Spartan Mark 7, and the Spartan Mark 5B. I've got these two pre-ordered from GameStop, I believe, and they keep getting pushed back, so who knows when or if I'll even get those to eventually review. I do hope I will. At this point, I'm not really sold on being a completionist with this line. The Halo Infinite figures, while cool, just don't have me totally sold yet. I think, at least for now, I really want to focus on getting the Halo Reach, Halo 3, any characters from like the games that I've actually played. And I don't really want to go completionist because, to be honest, I don't have the kind of funds to go full-scale, completionist with Halo, Star Wars, and it gets very complicated. The money gets spread very, very thin. However, these are fantastic designs, so I definitely will be picking up more as the waves go on. As like Series 2 comes out, I think we'll be getting Emil in Series 2, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm definitely getting that figure, no question about it. If they ever do an ODST, that's another one I will get, any classic Halo 3 characters. The other cool thing with this line is that it seems to be that the heads of Jazwares, the guys that are really heading up this line, creating it, marketing it, all that stuff, they really are in tune with the fan base. I personally have DM'd them over Instagram and had conversations with them about future lines and like what they want to see come out of this toy line. And it's incredible to see how in tune they are to the fan base. They want to produce a product that the fans will enjoy. And that's just refreshing. We haven't really seen that recently, especially if you're a Hasbro fan, you kind of know how it's been with getting weird releases that no one really asked for. And here we have a toy line in a really beloved franchise. I mean, Halo is something that I grew up playing with my friends. We had late night game nights till midnight, 3 a.m. playing Halo together. And it's really awesome to see it produced in a line now where the creators are fans themselves and they're putting a passion behind the characters and the figures that really doesn't get seen a whole lot when we're dealing with action figures. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about the figure itself. Many thanks to Greg for picking this up at a Target near him and sending it my way because I have no Targets around me, and I was really, really wanting to find this figure, especially for review purposes. This line, while I did say that it's a 6-inch line, technically these bad boys stand at 6.5 inches, and I believe any like human characters they release, like a Marine or something like that, will stand at 6 inches, which would give them a pretty accurate height difference since Spartans really are bulky and taller than your standard human. This is, of course, Master Chief in his Halo Infinite configuration of armor. Very, very nostalgic towards the Halo 3 style, but it definitely has its own 343 Industries kind of spin to it. Starting off, let's take a look at the accessories. Now, it comes with 2 weapons. First off, what is basically, I assume, the equivalent of the Magnum. It looks like a very stripped down Magnum from what we've seen before. Normally the handguard would come all the way down. Instead, this almost looks like something you would see in like Call of Duty maybe. But it's okay, like it's a new design. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I prefer the classic Magnum, really, in my opinion, but this isn't bad. It looks nice. Has a little peg slot there, which I will show how that fits on later. Next up we have the assault rifle. This is kind of a classic Halo Reach style assault rifle. I'm not sure how they're explaining that in lore, but basically Master Chief now uses older technology, or maybe this is newer technology. I really don't know. But yeah, this is like the Halo Reach style assault rifle, not the more streamlined Halo 3 assault rifle. And I'm sure that this is probably going to be a largely featured weapon in the new game. Once again, it does have a peg hole there, and let's showcase how that works. He has a peg built into the back of his armor there, and the rifle, or really any other weapon, can just slot right onto there like that. And then for the Magnum, you actually kind of pick out this little piece on his leg, and then turn it around. The peg is there on the inside, and you can slot the pistol right there. That's a really cool design since, if you don't want him to carry this, you can just pop this out, spin it around, and then it just looks like his leg armor. It's pretty seamless. It's not perfect, but it is a really cool way to kind of hide that when you're not using it. And it is on both sides, so you could technically dual wield a Magnum or other small arm on both legs. Another thing to note is that these are molded in a slightly bendy plastic. It's not super soft where I'm afraid that it will just get warped very easily. It's not like the ARC Trooper pack, the Hasbro ARC Trooper pack blasters where they're all like gummy weapons, but it definitely could get warped if you held it, in the wrong position for too long. So just, use it with a measure of caution. It's nice though because, as with past Halo lines, the weapons were very brittle and they would just snap off, especially little things like barrels. This is definitely not going to do that, and in many ways that's an improvement. Now he does come with an assortment of swappable hands, but we'll talk about that last after we talk about the articulation of this figure. Right up at the top we have a ball jointed head that can spin quite a bit around. You can look about that much up, you can look about that much down, and it's got this really beautiful chrome visor. That's one of the things I love about the 6-inch line over the 3 3/4 inch line, is just the chrome visors are so cool. Such a classic callback too to the Joyride Halo figures. So that is really nice. The sculpt on this figure is also really cool. We'll talk about that and some of the weathering, paint jobs and stuff later, but yeah, really good articulation on the head for a Spartan. You can look all the way around, forward, back, the basics. For the shoulders, he has a swivel as well as a hinge. One of the complaints that I've been seeing is that the joints are a little loose, and already I hear from Jazwares that they are going to be looking to improve that in future series. So any of the quality control issues that you see with figures, they are already working on improving that, and that is really good to hear because there are some issues with this figure. One of them being the loose joints. It will hold position, it's not just going to fall as long as it's, in a position like that or above. But it's, it's not great, but it's okay because they are working on it. And this being their first issue of the figures, I give them kind of a pass, They're getting their footing and already they've produced some really incredible figures. So I'm hopeful for the future. The figure also has a bicep swivel allowing you to rotate the arm like so, and then it is double jointed at the elbow. However, something to do with the armor and the joint, it doesn't allow the arm to be straightened more than that, and then it will curl up to there. So a good forward curl, but it doesn't straighten as you go back, and I would prefer it if it did, but again, it's kind of a small nitpick. I've seen some people working on modifying the joints already. Customizers will customize, so they've already done some modifications to the elbow joints and made it so that you can straighten the arm, and I think that's awesome. At the hands, you have a swivel as well as a hinge. Both hinges are in and out on the hands, and that's another area that I wish that there was a little improvement, and that would just be that this hand had an up and down swivel instead of an in and out swivel. It's just more practical for weapon holding and posing, things like that. At the torso, there's a ball joint, but it is seemingly very impeded by something to do with the torso. So there's really no forward ab crunch and not really any back. You can get a little bit of a swivel out of it, but not that much. The hips are a ball joint forward. As you can hear, there sometimes is a bit of a squeak to them. Nothing on this leg, but a squeak on this leg. I don't really know what that's all about. A thigh swivel as well, so lots of articulation. You can get the legs out to there. You could have Chief drop kicking some elite. So really good articulation, good range of articulation, but the squeaky joints are kind of a curiosity to me. I'm not sure why they're like that. I've seen other people talk about them as well. Again, not a deal breaker in any way, just one of those things that's like, interesting. Moving down to the knees, you have double jointed knees, which really get a good range of articulation there. I like that they included this little bit of armor. I don't know if that's, from the game or not, but it definitely helps mask the joint since it is kind of it's an interesting joint. It leaves a little bit too much here, I think, in the knee. Like, this definitely isn't a human knee bend. I think that if they just went single jointed and we only got to like right there, I would have been fine with that. But getting that extra range is nice. I just think that the knee joint looks a little awkward, maybe a little inhuman, let's say, a little alien, but that's okay. I mean, the articulation range is definitely nice, and you could even pose it like this and keep it looking a little bit more human, and you can get him into a pretty good crouching position, which is going to be really nice for toy photography and all that kind of thing. Then down to the foot, it is on a hinge, but with the armor, it's kind of impeded. You really only get it to like right there and then right there. But it is on a forward-facing rocker, so you can definitely get it into some, let's see, you can kind of do that. We'll do something like this, turn that out there, and you can get him into like a pose like that, and his feet are flat on the ground. So it's a really nice piece of articulation. The armor just kind of impedes that swivel from being any more articulated than it is. And then finally, another nice piece of articulation, they have a hinged toe, which is really cool for running positions or anything like that. Not a needed piece of articulation, but one that is always appreciated. So there we go with that. There's the figure overall. Let's talk about the paint apps really quick, and then we'll get into hands and overall value. Overall, this figure looks really nice. It's got like a dry brushed silver basically over the entire body. A little bit of blast damage there, some black and silver markings here and there on the armor where it belongs, and then a little 117 there on the chest plate. And really, that's all he needs. I mean, he's just a big green spaceman when you think about it. So not a lot of paint apps are needed. I think in places the silver dry brush is a bit overdone, like here on the shins. I don't know, it just needs to be over the edges maybe, not like on the entire armor surface. But if you were so inclined, you could easily remove that silver paint, give him like a black wash or something like that, highlight the armor where you wanted it, and you'd have a really awesome looking Master Chief, because the sculpt is there. I think the paint apps are a little bit iffy, but again, for like a $20 figure, they're pretty awesome, especially the sculpt. The sculpt is amazing. So really it's up to you. I mean, at the base, like this out of the package, fresh, just standing here is a really awesome Halo figure. And there's just some small tweaks that you could make to it and you'd have an even better Halo figure. But ultimately, there's really no reason to do that if you don't want to. Now let's talk about the swappable hands. And I believe he comes with 5, if I counted right. I kind of tossed this guy into a box just briefly while I was moving studios around, and yeah, I think I got all of them out of the box. I definitely know I have one issue, and that's one small quality control issue. I got 2 of the left hand, or the right hand. I got 2 right hands. So the problem with that is that this is like the weapon gripping hand, that would grip the forward grip of the rifle like that. And that means he can only hold the rifle in the opposite hand. He can't hold it in this hand and have a hand like this to grip the rifle here. So I don't know if that makes sense. I got 2 of the same hand, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And that's not a big deal. I'll contact Jazwares. They'll probably just send me a replacement hand if they can, and all will be well. So he has the trigger hand like this. He can hold the rifle really well. He comes with 2 of those, one for the left, one for the right, so you could actually have him kind of dual wielding. Let's get this one in there like that. There we go. You could have him dual wielding. He could have the pistol in one hand, the assault rifle in the other, and you could have him, if I can get it to work, can't really get it to lodge in the armor just right, but you get the idea. He could be like that, dual wielding the weapons. Alternatively, you can pop the hand out. Comes out pretty easily, kind of like a Marvel Legend maybe, not a lot of fear of breaking those pegs off, thankfully. And you can swap it out for a fist. He comes with one of those for his right hand as well, or you can swap it out for, I guess this would be kind of like a command hand. That's what I saw it as, like, he's motioning, hey, over there, there's a bad guy over there. You squad, move out over there. That's what I see this hand as, and it's really nice. I think the other Spartans, like the Mark V and the Mark VII, come with saluting hands, which is also really cool, but Master Chief salutes to no one, so he doesn't have one of those. So yeah, you get all of these hands, I think 7 in total, 2 on the figure and 5 left over, and you get 2 weapons, and all of that for $20. Ultimately, despite some of the quality control issues, that is an amazing deal, and really you get a lot of bang for your buck with these Halo figures. The swappable hands are really nice, the armor detail is really well sculpted, the shiny visor is just so cool, and yeah, this is a fantastic line. I am really excited to see where it goes from here. This is a fantastic start. It's a little bumpy in some areas, you know, like I said, the loose joints, some of the quality control issues, but they're already on it, they're already dealing with it. So I have the utmost confidence in saying that this is a line to collect if you are a Halo fan. Now let's slide him back here, and as a last little note, let's just compare him to some previous Halo figures. Here he is next to a McFarlane Halo 3 Master Chief in like the 5-inch scale, I believe it was. And then we'll compare him to my pride and joy, my only Joyride Spartan. I love this guy so much. I want to get more of these, but they're kind of tough to come by in some instances. You can find them, but usually they're overpriced, and yeah, but I love the Joyride Halo line. It was something I grew up with as a kid and don't have any of those anymore, so this is the only one I have left. But anyways, yeah, 7 inches roughly, so these guys don't really scale together well. Some of the weapons might cross over. I'm going to do kind of a comparison because I think that I've seen some people using weapons from other Halo lines with these 6-inch figures, and it seems to work out pretty well. I think the Halo Reach statue from the Legendary Edition, those weapons work with these figures, and I think some of the Mattel weapons also work with them, but in general, these figures don't scale well together, the McFarlane or the Joyride, but I still love having them, especially my Joyride figures. As much as I love these Jazwares, if you're listening, I love your figures, but there's so much nostalgia for me in the Halo 2 Joyride figures. It's tough to beat them. It's tough to beat them. I love these, but it's tough to beat these. But anyways, that's my review of the new Jazwares 6.5-inch Master Chief from the Spartan collection. He's really awesome, guys. If you find him in stores, just pick him up. He's 20 bucks. He's awesome. He's the Master Chief. You know he's going to blow up a ring or something like that. As always, if you want to stay up to date with the channel, links to my social media are down in the description, as well as a link to my merch over on Teespring or TeePublic or one of those sites. I don't remember anymore. My memory is going down the tubes, as is my sanity. And also there is a link down there to my, or not a link rather, but an address. There's an address to my P.O. box, and if you want to send anything in there, I'll make a video on it and do an unboxing. But yeah, that's down there as well. Check them out if you like. Leave a like, a comment, a subscription, whatever you want on this video. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that watches my videos. It does mean a lot to me. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.